You can call Nancy, she gon' get the job done. DBE, you gon' get the best outcome. She's always on the go, raise your glass, let's toast. Everybody knows, everybody knows. Hello Nancy, hello Nancy, hello Nancy, hello, 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 hello Nancy. Hello, hello.
I called up Hello Nancy. She say chill, no way in hell she gon' let me panic. Watch her build something so real without no hesitation. Hard work, sweat, tears, and a lot of dedication.
Welcome to the Hello Nancy show. I'm so happy to see you guys. So today I have one of my favorite people, and I can't believe he actually agreed to be my guest today. So guess what? This is gonna be a captivating show, so stay tuned. So today I would like to introduce you to the #1 spinal surgeon in the country, Dr. Stefano Sinicropi. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure. By the way, it's the opposite. I actually begged her to be on the show because she's so amazing. I'm glad to be here. And thank you for the accolades, but let's get...
Oh, no, Google it. Google it.
That's a little bit of like Italian, over-the-top stuff that we do. Anyway, go ahead.
Dr. Stefano here. He's very humble, as you can see, but just an incredible surgeon. Dr. Stefano, thank you for being here today. I wanted to have you on here because I've been around your business and I am seeing that you are changing lives and saving lives. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself so our audience can get to know you? What's happening? What is Hypercharge, and who is Dr. Stefano M?
I mean, there's a lot.
That was a lot.
There's a lot to unpack there.
But
that
you
was
were
like,
supercharged.
I was just like, hey, let's go through your
Throw
whole life.
it in.
All right, you know what? Let's do that. Let me just start from the beginning. First of all, I'm really excited to be with you. Love everything you're doing. Love the show. So, my background goes back. I'm born and raised in the Bronx. Love all kinds of people. Have a very complicated story. You could ask me whatever you want about it. But anyway, eventually decided I really wanted to be a physician because I felt like that was the best way that I can help humanity in my way. And I just love doing stuff. I like working with my hands. I ended up being a surgeon because I knew I was going to be an orthopedic surgeon. Eventually I made that decision, and then I fell in love with spine surgery. And I basically dedicated my life to becoming the best spine surgeon possible, and was so blessed to be able to choose the Twin Cities of Minnesota because it was really a perfect location to really grow and thrive, and been able to build a very big practice, and now been able to grow the practice, and we're very large. But over the course of a long career, my biggest frustration was that I obviously could see that the surgeries that we were offering people, the care that we were given for spine, my partners that were giving care, many lives were restored, many people were getting better, but people have so many other things going on with their life. So yes, you might be able to restore something that's broken or not functioning, but you're not restoring the overall function of the patient. So always got into dieting and different nutrition plans and different exercise plans early on, but that wasn't enough. So first of all, it's a hard sell. Okay, you know what America's like right now. Like just telling them go to the gym 4 times a week, that's tough. That's tough. Telling them you have to give up your bread or your donuts or whatever, it's tough. It works, you have to, tough love. But regardless of that, I just felt like I was, not getting very far. And then I was asking them, so I kept getting more, I would call it more and more nosy. Most surgeons are not. If you go see a specialist, if you go see something, if you have a bad ankle, they're not going to sit down with you for 45 minutes and talk to you about your diabetes, or why is your blood pressure out of control, or why have you gained 50 pounds since the last time you saw me a year ago? Like, what are we going to do?
They're just going to focus on the injury.
Exactly. Here's the deal. The more I saw that, the more it really was bothering me. I'm like, something is so wrong. And so I was in a state where I didn't know what to do though. at that moment. And then along came one of my partners at the wellness centers, Tram, who you've had him.
Tram Holloway,
yeah, Tram
yes,
Holloway.
yes.
Amazing guy, and he helped my son get over an injury. And this is just all like musculoskeletal stuff. I had no idea that he had any interest. And then he started talking to me about all this biohacking. Okay, and I give this talk, I give this kind of story everywhere I go, because people are like, how did you get into like oxygen, like that kind of stuff, because that's not typical.
What is biohacking for our
So biohack is very simple, biology hacking. So you're hacking into biology. So we can use so many different methods. Some are most of them are very natural, but then you can get into peptides, all kinds of ways to manipulate the way your body works and make it work better. And it's amazing. I will tell you, and he'll laugh. I was obsessed. When he met me, I was already obsessed with all kinds of alternative treatments and, a lot. I was very dialed into, I have got nutrition books, but piles of them, and exercise, because I was really so frustrated. I just wanted to get people better. So he was like, what about laser therapy? What about like red light? What about, and I'm like, that doesn't do it. The typical response that doctors give me now when I try to promote this stuff. So even I was like that. Why? Because I went to Columbia University to school. I trained with guys that, are known all over the world. You're standing on the shoulders of giants. You think that you know it all because we're docs, and that's kind of what we do. And so it took me a little while. So he kept repeating it. So we got to be good friends before I even thought about doing anything. And then finally he's like, you know what? I know that it's not in your scope, and I know none of your partners or people that you associate know any of this stuff. He's like, could you just do me a favor? Could you just read some of this stuff? So I said, fine, and I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to science, so I said, you know what, if I'm going to read it, I'm going to really read it. So I said, I'm going to take a week. I took an entire weekend, and I said, I'm actually going to study this stuff like I was going to give a lecture on it. So I started reading this stuff and just learning about all these different biohacking things, and I was like blown out of the water. I'm like, why am I not doing this myself? Like why is no one promoting this to me? Forget about the patch. How about me? Like, I need to do this stuff.
Because everybody wants to live long and feel well.
Everybody wants this stuff. So you hear it in the periphery. The vast majority of people, they don't really know what all these like these life hackers are doing, or Brian Johnson who wants to live forever. All these people, they don't know. They don't get it. They know a little bit, but they don't really get it. And I didn't know. So anyway, I started studying this stuff after just 3 days, just on what I had learned on photobiomodulation. Let me clarify that for you. So that's light therapy. So photo, light, right? Bio, again, biology, and modulation. So you can manipulate the way our cells work, all of them, using light. And that technology is fantastic. That's what I give a TED Talk on at Harvard. It's the most fascinating science ever, because our cells have these little antennas that can actually receive light. So if you shine a certain type of light, it stimulates the antenna. Those antennas, I'm not going to get into all the details of they're some fancy names, and then they stimulate the cells to produce they produce energy, so something called ATP. It's the energy in cells. I love how through mitochondria. I'm just because if I get excited, we're gonna start.
The average me and our audience, we don't know all this terminology.
Let me tell you something. We're all average. I give lectures to doctors. They're like looking at me. They're like, I don't know what you're saying. What cytochrome? Because it's cytochrome C oxidase. Yes. It's a specific. They're like, I never heard of that. What does that even mean?
Wow.
In fact, I gave a talk at this workers' compensation. So there were physicians, lawyers, judges, and qualified rehabilitation consultants. Full house.
Wow.
Full house. The questions were like, how does that? What's biohacking? What's
this? So it's not just me.
I asked this question before I get back to what I was saying before. I asked them. I always start. I say, how many people have ever heard of red light therapy? Red light therapy, 3. Class 4 laser, 0. Oxygen, maybe a few in the room. That's it. Everything. The other stuff I don't even mention. There's no chance somebody, unless they've been treating at our clinic, there's no chance they know they haven't. There's no chance. So anyway, long story short, started doing the thing, and I'm telling you, I went from. It was maybe, I don't know this, we had dinner maybe like a week or 2 before, and then finally he's like, can you please just look at this? I said, okay. I went from leave me alone to calling the guy like on Monday or Tuesday the next day, and I'm like, I need all of this stuff in my house immediately. Like right now, I need it for myself instantly. This is going to change my life personally, and then we're going to open clinics if we could show that it works.
Okay, that was
immediately, like this.
That
like
escalated
done.
so
Done.
quickly.
Crazy, but that's my personality too. Because when you find something, you can strategize for 10 years while people continue to have problems and issues, or you can actually execute. And to be honest with you, the reason that eventually we did it for ourselves, our family, completely changed my life. I'm already an energetic person. I went from that to like
supersonic,
crazy.
I agree.
The amount of stuff I've been able to do once I did it's insane.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, instead the reason to launch the clinic, it's not because I needed another entrepreneurial venture to do. I've done plenty.
We know.
It's not that. It's because it was to me, it was like it was tragic that the general public and my colleagues, physicians, had no idea what this stuff was.
Because
it's
they
crazy.
focus on sick care, right?
Of course, 90% of our dollars are spent on sick care.
And you focus on wellness.
I'm focused on, my focus is on root cause, wellness management. Again, if sitting around, nobody's doing it. It's not like, like sometimes you have ideas. I want to do this. I want to open another, Caribbean restaurant or Italian restaurant. Well, there's 7, right, on the same block, but you're sure that yours is good. With our concept and like how I want to tell them, like, this doesn't, like, it doesn't really exist in the sense that, yes, are there places that have the tanning red light beds? Are there people that are doing kind of low light? But there was nothing that existed where there were these proprietary protocols, which at that time I didn't have, we developed them, to really help people that have chronic diseases and are struggling. We're treating concussion, we're treating, like people that have cognitive decline, dementia, Lyme's disease,
brain fog.
We have a thing. I didn't know this. Like, for example, for COVID, post-COVID, there are still so many people that are suffering from post-COVID, and people are having issues with vaccines. I think I'm allowed to say that now. We've gotten over that part.
But long COVID is a
long
big
COVID
thing.
is huge.
Yeah.
But you can also have a long COVID type of symptom post-vaccine. So that's different, but it's kind of the same. It's different, but the same.
But it's affected millions of people.
Millions of people are affected. Just in my clinic the other day, I had three long COVIDs. Just the other day. This is a spine surgeon, because I ask. So anyway, so I didn't even know this, so started to do the research, and then it was like, I was like, oh my God, the results in these small pilot studies for long COVID were showing for brain fog, it was 100% effective, having these treatments that I'd never heard of in my entire life, and no one had ever heard of this stuff. And so eventually, to make a long story short, we decided to launch, and we did a bunch of clinics, then we opened the bigger medical center with all the care. But the thing that is most exciting is that it's opened an entire window to me, to people all over the country, and so many different wellness subspecialties. Like, I got a great relationship with the researchers at Harvard that are doing the light therapies. You think they're not frustrated?
Of course.
I talk to them, they're like, if you have cognitive decline or early Alzheimer's disease, the fact that people are not having light shone on their head, it's tragic. Why? It's cheap. People get better. It's very clear, obvious that it helps with brain function, but yet no one. We could do it. We could have done an experiment. Put a phone here. Let's call all the neurologists here in town and ask them, hey, light therapy for the brain. They're like, excuse me?
And that's a problem, right?
It's a huge problem.
I want to talk about my experience with you since we've met.
Yes.
I've heard a lot of the, all the positive messages and all the people telling, oh, it works, it's great, all the testimonies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is BS. Just tell the truth. And just like those other doctors, they're like, light therapy.
What are you
I'll
talking
turn
about?
on the lights at home.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Tram literally shut my mouth. I laid on the bed just one time. And this is not the red light therapy at the Planet Fitness. Like, not the little red bulbs at the plant. When I tell you it felt like a warm hug from the sun, I can't even explain it. But I felt immediately like
I can explain it.
My mood, right? My mood was better. And I have a debilitating injury to my tailbone. and it just continues to get inflamed, right? Since I've been using that red therapy, the red light therapy, that's why I won't shut up about it now. I can actually sit down without pain.
That's amazing.
I'm in a better mood. I'm sleeping better. I'm like, could this actually be real? I love being able to be healthy. As you're a multipreneur, multi-multipreneur, and we're always running around, we're doing multiple things, and I'll be lying if I tell you that I feel great all the time. But since using that, I just can't believe the amount of energy that I'm feeling. And it just feels like it's so natural, and that I've always supposed to use those beds, and everybody's supposed to use those beds. I feel bad for anyone that hasn't found this technology.
Yes.
I literally feel bad. So
it's an obsession.
How do we get this wellness to the masses?
You know, I think it's going to take a lot of struggle. Remember, you know, my book's coming out here in this fall, and it's like everything else. From the time we're little, okay, you didn't grow up here, so it's a little different. So you have a little bit of a different worldview. But from the time we're little here in the U.S. and just in more West, more like U.S. kind of thinking, you know, countries. We're just indoctrinated. We're indoctrinated with, you know, with McDonald's, you know, with the food, with the bad foods. This is normal. The cereals with all the cereal box colors, whatever.
And feeling bad is normal.
Yeah, and if feeling bad is normal, having diseases. We're also indoctrinated that Western medicine and sick care is normal. And so if you look at many communities, and we could just pick like different communities that I love, like the different cultures and the way they see stuff. Yeah. But it's very common in the U.S. People think, oh, I just get diabetes, I just take the sugar pill. You get the sugar, you take the sugar pill, right? Now we have GLP-1, so why work out? We don't even have to. I mean, there's all these articles last week that it's like, you know, those meds should be even before you go to the gym and exercise.
That's crazy.
I mean, now, what we're turning into Wall-E. Pretty soon they're just going to, like, have us in chairs. They're just going to wheel us around because we're going to be too big to get out of the chair. So we're just going to be in our little, you know, our little wheelchair. And they're just, do you know that movie? Wall-E? It's crazy. I do,
but I'm a little shocked because I just had this picture in my head.
It's crazy.
The future, you're right. Now there's GLP-1s. Don't even exercise, just lose a bunch of weight and muscle and do
I got a better one.
Oh,
there's these drugs coming out. They're called mimetics. People don't know about it, but they're talking about insight. Like, people are not going to know this. So what a mimetic is, now you don't have to exercise anymore. You just take a pill. And it mimics exercise.
You have got to be kidding me.
But the thing is, I just, when I see where we're going, I can no longer, because we're not mobile anymore. We're staring at our phones all the time. We're on social media. We're just, our humanity, our happiness was based before on relationships and feeling good and being happy and having all this stuff. Now we're just mired in all this other stuff. Anyway, I could go on a tangent, but going back to what I was saying before, we really are brainwashed to think that as we get older, we should lose our mobility and we should get sick, and then we just get treated with meds, and you just go to the doctor and you listen to whatever they say. We're not, like, teaching our children healthy eating habits. We're not teaching them about biohacking. I mean, that's like really advanced stuff, but I'm
going to teach my son.
We are absolutely brainwashed, and it's a two-edged sword. So think about this.
Wow.
The American public, I'm going to pick on America because we're here. The American public is completely brainwashed. They're brainwashed with food. They're brainwashed by big industry. Literally, big industry, they got people sitting around all day figuring out how to brainwash everybody.
Yeah.
The medical industry, it's even worse. Why? Because, number one, we are taught in a certain way. And that's what I said, like, at the beginning of the book. I'm an insider of insiders. So don't start throwing stuff at me like I'm some conspiracy theorist. I've been that my whole life.
You've been there.
Look at everything I've talked about.
There.
I've been there. I've done that. You know, I'm on boards. All kinds of stuff. I couldn't be more like westernized medicine. But there is a serious brainwashing, and that's why a lot of physicians and other providers, but physicians are kind of, it's not great. It's just, I get it. You guys are very smart. You went to great schools. Fabulous. But you still have to be open-minded. But it's even worse, because not only are we brainwashed by our school training, and again, it's all great. If people are really sick, These doctors are amazing. They can heal you. They can get you out of the hospital. They can, make sure that, like your leg is put back together or whatever it is. Not always, but they try and they're amazing. But they're brainwashed in two ways. One, they think that that's all there is, drugs and procedures. But number two, they're also Americans. So they're also corporately brainwashed. So when I do a lot of work, obviously, with physicians for their health, and we have a lot of clients that are physicians, they're as unhealthy as everybody. There's no different. They're not healthier than the population.
Yeah.
And
My
so,
old doctor had the biggest belly I've ever seen.
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. And again, I'm not judging people. I'm not doing anything. I'm just calling the truth. If the people that are the experts in keeping you well are as sick as you are,
Oof.
how is that? How are they going to make the other people well? They can't even make themselves well, for God's sake. They can't.
Okay, I got a question about
I'm
that.
sorry.
I can only imagine,
Yeah.
but do you believe you've made enemies with the way you think? Because I always joke about this, but you're the type of doctor that they want to hide away, because I know for a fact you have testimonials of people. I saw a woman, 85-year-old woman today at your clinic, treated by one of your partners, who was literally hopping and skipping down the hallway and gave us an incredible testimony.
Yeah, we have amazing.
And she was 85 years old,
I know.
looking 50. Her knee, she said she couldn't walk before,
Yeah.
and now her knees,
Yeah.
she could bend down.
It's amazing.
She could squat better than me, and I'm 39.
Yeah.
So you're that type of doctor. Has this type of thinking and biohacking
Well,
built enemies?
that's interesting.
I want to know.
I'm going to give you an insight. The first thing I want to say, I'm going to give an insight. The first thing that I want to say is that because I know now what I know, okay, then my original title, and that I don't even talk about that, but the original title was going to be A Diary of a Reformed Spine Surgeon. But then people are like, just whatever, because it doesn't quite capture everything that's in there, but it really, because a lot of it is about my own personal reformation. It's like I'm a completely different person. So what I was going to say is what makes me feel bad now is that I have had patients that I've had them for 20 years, and I've seen so many of them get sicker and sicker. I'm not even talking about their spine. I'm talking about their everything. If I had known this information before 2 years ago,
Yeah.
or 2.5 years ago, I could have saved them a long time ago. I'm still helping them now, but oh my God, their loss of mobility, their diabetes is out of control. They're tremendously
Which is not normal.
They're tremendously obese. A lot of them have early, dementia. I'm talking about people that I've known for 20 years. That wasn't my field. I was thinking, there are other people who are going to take care of them. So I could have helped them.
Wow.
And so now, literally, everybody that comes through my door, yes, obviously I'm going to treat their spine stuff if they need surgery. Of course, people are like, oh, you still doing surgery? I do a lot of surgery. A lot of people absolutely need surgery because if they don't have surgery, they're going to be miserable. You can't red light away like if somebody has some severe thing going on. But I could have made a massive impact, and I think about that all the time, but I'm really happy that some of them, and I apologize. Sometimes I say, I'm like, John, or whatever, I'm really sorry. I wish I had this. If I had done this, if you had gotten into these things 10 years ago, you would be so much better today. You would not have aged like this. You wouldn't look like this. All this stuff. I'm sorry, but we have it now. And so let's try to reverse as many of the things that are wrong with you, but that's going to take you investing in yourself. And they have to buy into investing in yourself. It's not as easy, I write them a pill and they're fine. That's what they all think, but that doesn't work because you know the whole thing. We could talk about that if you want. Now let's go to your other question. I could tell you when I launched this project.
Wait, let me have my producer play. I have enemies. I got a lot of enemies. Go on.
So anyway, yeah, that's actually true. But when I started the project, I to be honest with you, I was very worried about the way this was going to be received. Not that I have, I've done a lot of projects where I've always worried about, and that's not how I'm built. I'm built that if I believe in something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I was very worried that there was going to be pushback, that people were going to be trolling me online and all this stuff instead of because I could talk about all spine surgery, everyone's happy. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to start talking about oxygen therapy and biohacking and peptides and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my, to be honest with you, are there some people that it's touched a nerve? 90% of them though, even though they don't necessarily believe, they're very much like, you're really on to something. It's not just my thing, I'm not going to do that. Good for you, I'm glad. And some of them have ended up converting and becoming, you know, patients of ours that are treated with the stuff. And a lot of them are just don't believe. And they don't think the testimonies, they think like, you know, like, oh, this is all just made up. You know, that's his grandma doing a testimonial. That's not really like there's no idea.
Wow.
But bottom line is, it has been more of, it's been a lot more positive than it was negative. And I thought it was going to go the other way. Now, have I had the occasional, you know, nasty, you know, reach out from somebody where like a patient's canceled a surgery, you know, from some other clinic or something because they're fine now and they're like, what are you doing? This is not, I don't understand, like what kind of voodoo is, whatever. I just like that kind of stuff. So it doesn't matter, but other than that, it's very far, and I think that going back to what you said before, the only way to do this is to be persistent, to believe in what you believe in, and to just carry through no matter what. Yes, am I frustrated that it's very difficult to get the message up? I am frustrated because I see it every single day. Like when I see people, I know they're gonna feel, I was like, yes, if maybe your pain is gonna get to a level where you still need surgery. Maybe this is not gonna be the thing, but I know what, your mood's gonna be better, you're gonna sleep better.
Which makes a difference.
You know, it like makes a huge difference because it's life-changing. For some people, it is like the protocols, like we have protocols for for everything.
Now,
right?
I gotta say this, right? Inflammation is a big thing right now, it's huge. And that's why I will not shut up about the inflammation that was in my table.
Now you're talking my language.
I just can't, I won't shut up about it. You can't make me shut up about it because it works. I have been in pain now for 8 years, had a very big baby, huge injury. I cannot still believe to this day that I can get up without pain. So I understand that the education is very difficult around this topic, and I really hear your passion when you talk about you want to help cure people. Yes, if they need surgery, you get it. However, you want to help them change their life completely. Now, I want to talk a little bit about memory loss, memory care. Now, it seems normal now for people's parents who have Alzheimer's. People just accept it. But I saw a testimony of a patient from TRAM that actually reversed their Alzheimer's. Yeah. How is that possible?
I mean, we don't say, so we got to be careful.
Brain fog.
Brain fog. So
how is that possible?
It's interesting because that is like, I have a personal, you know, I have personal anecdotes from family members that have had it. I had one aunt. I've never seen anything that was more depressing. I'm still PTSD'd about it. I mean, she's passed since, but horrible. For those of you that have had family members that go through all, it's one of the worst of the worst. In fact, I was just talking to my cousin, who's his mom, and he's like his dad. He's like, yeah, Dad had you know, cancer for a long time, and he's like, that was easy dealing with cancer compared to the Alzheimer's because of the outburst. She was an angry, you know, she getting lost. They're trying to find her, whatever.
It's heartbreaking.
So here's the story with that. Alzheimer's and dementias in general are really tough, and it is the frontier. So first of all, I want to say neuroinflammation. The food we eat, yes, there's a genetic component, but Alzheimer's, for those of you that don't know, is actually referred to as diabetes type 3.
You have got to be
absolutely. It's diabetes type 3 because it's part of it is a resistance to insulin and an inflammatory component to it. No question about it. That's what it's called. Look it up. Google it. Diabetes type 3. And so Alzheimer's, there is a genetic component. So if you have people that have, you know, that have it, you're more likely to potentially to get it early. Potentially, it depends on what genes you got. Complicated stuff. But then it's the inflammation from your foods. It's the like lack of sleep over years and years. It's the not using your brain cognitively. It's the exposure to the toxins that we're exposed to, microplastics, potentially radiation from who knows? But we're exposed to crazy amounts. If you look at what happens to our vets, they're exposed to crazy stuff in these things. They, you know, like, I don't know if you're familiar with, there's something called burn pits.
Right.
So they take, like, they have these big things and they just burn all this stuff. They're just, this stuff they're inhaling, and this is lodging in their mitochondria, and I mean, I did this great episode with one of this guy, he's a vet, and we were just talking about burn. I had to do all this deep research because I didn't know about it, and I didn't realize how it's bad what happens to what we do, like to our soldiers, and when they come back, they're sick, and so it's all inflammation. Let's go back to Alzheimer's. So we have a huge problem. It's going to triple by the year 2050. Triple. I'm not making this up. You can look up the statistics. In Minnesota, the statistics, this is before 2020. They haven't updated it. Almost 100,000 people, okay, have dementia, primarily Alzheimer's disease. You know how many memory care beds there are in our state? About 3,000.
Oh, goodness.
So what does that leave? That leaves a bunch of families that are struggling with loved ones that are gone. So when it comes to Alzheimer's, so I'm going to tell you some of the treatments that are great for early dementia. Again, it's not a cure. This isn't medical advice. You got to do more research. But this is something that we talk about often, like with the people at Harvard and other people. You know, there's another guy's name is Dr. Theodore Henderson. Brilliant. He's a psychiatrist. He's out in Colorado. Brilliant guy. I've had him on my podcast too. Anyway, when you shine the light on the brain, this is just one thing. It's a we have a multi-pronged approach. So in our wellness centers, we do it one way. In our other center where we brought in Dr. Balchi, it's a very complex, dementia protocol that we do. We're just looking at it from diet and all kinds of stuff. But if you shine a light on the brain, what does the light do? This is where the magic of light is for a brain. So it, like I said before, it's absorbed in our mitochondria and those antennas. Mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. Our cells have thousands of mitochondria. And brain, it's the most dense. Where are mitochondria most dense? The brain and the heart. Why? Power. Okay? The brain is just a small percent of our body weight, but it consumes about 20% of all the power in our entire body. It's just so many mitochondria. That thing is fired up. That's how that's why we're conscious. That's why we know what's going on.
So what is mitochondria for that?
Well, mitochondria, again, it's the powerhouse of the cell. They're these little tiny engines in the cells, and sometimes they're in the thousands. Again, lots in the brain cells. And those mitochondria we weren't human then, but at some point, our cells that we see swallowed a certain type of bacteria that became mitochondria.
Wow.
So that's how we were able to develop into these organisms that are so complicated, because we have these engines that run everything. If your mitochondria stopped working right now, like if we both stopped, we would just drop. Done. You can't find it. Does everything, right? That's the entire engine of everything.
Yeah,
so anyway, so you get the mitochondria. So you shine the light on the brain. It increases blood flow. And decreased blood flow is directly linked with having cognitive decline.
Got it.
Okay? It improves mitochondrial function. It affects something. This is going to be complicated. You guys probably know, like, people, you heard lymph nodes.
Yeah.
So lymph there's a system, lymphatics. Yep. Lymphatics drain garbage. So you imagine, why do we have lymph? We have that because, okay, your brain is a factory. You have all these cells. You're using so much energy. What do they produce? Garbage. That garbage has to go somewhere. So it comes out of the cell and eventually drains into the lymph system, and then your body can get rid of it. What happens in these dementias? The lymphatic system, which is what it's called in the brain, it's a little different, lymphatics, that gets all clogged up. It's clogged up with garbage. There's all this garbage. You're producing all this stuff. You just shining the light helps that thing grow. So now, you imagine a sewage system that stops under New York City, right? The whole city would stink. You get it going again, and it's clean again. If you ever watch, back 100 years ago when they were building New York City it's amazing. It's the ingenuity of it's incredible. Anyway, I didn't even get to the big one. So that's already 3 things that you're doing just by shining the light on the brain. I'm going to talk about how that works in a second. But when you shine the light, what does it do? And this is real science. Reconnection of the cells. That's called synaptogenesis. When I had Dr. Michael Hamlin on my show, he's the guru of light therapy ever. All the books are him. You see the textbooks, Michael Hamlin, like anyway. He just said, he's like, everybody that has any type of brain issue, and anybody that's over a certain age, he's like, I believe, he has this like accent, he's like, I believe we should be shining a light on all of their heads. Absolutely. He's like, why? You're reconnecting the cells. So in any injury, concussion, Alzheimer's, all these dementias, brain fog, imagine all those start growing again, and you're regrowing the connections between the cells.
That's life-changing.
It's unbelievably life-changing. And again, you know, as a physician, I have to be, I have to be real careful because, right, like the FDA, it's not like they approve light, but what's the FDA position statement? It's exactly this. It says that light therapy, it says clinically insignificant risk. That means there's no risk to you.
No risk.
Now, if people have like, certain psychiatric disorders, we don't, because you could get like, you feel amazing when you have the light on your head. So we don't want, if somebody's like in like psychotic, we're not going to put the light on there, then they're more psychotic. But other than that, it's very, very, minimal risk, to treat. Even if you have lesions in the brain, you can still treat, right? So, but bottom line is that by shining the light on the brain, you wake up the brain. So you can see it. So I'll tell you, the proof is in the pudding. I don't like to use, but it's true. So if you shine a light, so if I shone a light on your brain right now, before we did what's called a functional MRI, shows the blood flow, and I shine the light on your brain with either laser, the laser's more powerful, or we just use LED, we can get a functional MRI after, or a SPECT scan. It'll show increased blood flow to the to the frontal cortex, which is where a lot of this like cognitive decline happens. And so not only anybody that has cognitive decline, anybody that is getting older and wants to stay sharper, or young and just has tests coming up or whatever, should be considering the light therapy.
I hear you do it before surgery.
I do.
Wow.
So on my big surgery days, I do my own treatment. I treat myself with the light and the level of focus and intensity. Why? My brain blood flow is higher. Why would I not do that?
I wanna go next, by the way. Next, I would love to talk about your clinics. You have one in Maple Grove, Woodbury.
And
Eden Prairie. I've visited, and they're incredible. The technology there, they had a brain scan of some sort.
Yeah.
Is there any way you could give us a short description of what it does?
Yeah, so we have there's a name for it. It's called the brain view, but it's the concept. So it's a quantitative EEG. It just basically looks at your brain waves. You guys know EKG, that's for the heart. EEG, it sees the brain waves. And then what it does is it uses this proprietary AI technology, which is, they all do that. And then it compares your brain scan to thousands of other people's, showing and just seeing what are the abnormalities that are going on. So you can see dysfunction in the brain. Now we don't necessarily use it as a heart. We got to be really careful with the brain saying this is diagnostic. This is the same thing with SPECT scans, but it's a totality. But you can use that to see parts of the brain that are not working right. You can see changes in concussion in early, and you can also see pre-changes. So you can see changes before you even start to have cognitive decline. So then we can pre-treat you. It's there's this movie with Tom Cruise, I forgot what it's called, but there's these precogs. They see the crime before it happens. We can see potentially the dementia before it happened. This is well talked about, and that's why it's so exciting now to have. Or
stroke before it happened.
Well, stroke is different. Stroke is different. That's complicated. Not. It wouldn't be stroke, but there's a lot of cognitive declines that you can see, and that's why we're so excited to have brought on Dr. Balchi, who is a renowned neuropsychiatrist. She was at Mayo Clinic and AMN clinics and all this stuff, and this is her passion in life. And when we sit and talk, it's what we can do and what's not being offered is so frustrating. Same thing with concussion, okay? Yeah. Concussion ruins people's lives. Now, it's one thing if you have a concussion, you recover in 7 days or a month. But it's another thing if it's 3 years later and you're still in a fog, you can't think, you go to read, your eyes hurt, you're bringing in there's all kinds of stuff.
And we have a lot of athlites that literally ruins their entire career, right? So these clinics, you have 3 locations, but then you also have a location right here in Edina.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And that's where you can actually get more of the health side.
Yeah, so that's the full, that is the clinic that honestly, I could not be more excited about what we're doing, because there, right, what we're really doing is we're combining everything we know. We've got doctors there, and we have nurse practitioners there, we have nurses, we have all kinds of people, but we are really combining the expertise of Western medical knowledge, and so we do full treatments. Anything people, anything medicine, people come in. You've got doctors or nurse practitioners. We can manage your medications, whatever is going on, but then we can bring in all these other protocols. So we're developing. I mean, we already have protocols, but we continue to develop them. But advanced protocols, again, concussion, advanced hormonal protocols, just executive protocols to be your absolute best. One of the things I'm most excited about, which rolls out like later this year, is the Hypercharge 50. It is a program specifically for men and women over the age of 50. Now, we just called it that because that's a group that's like not paid attention to. But really, people should be starting it early. We'll also have the Hypercharge 360 for the younger, the younger people. But the Hypercharge 50, as we get older, I'm over 50, right? I'm 51 years old. As you get older, what happens? You start having memory issues. You start not feeling good as well. Energy levels, come on. Yeah, I mean, like, people tank. You have mitochondrial dysfunction. You have hormonal issues. You have mobility issues. You have stuff like that. Here's the deal. Modern medicine is amazing. Again, we do sick care. And we can extend so you could get like really sick, and potentially we can extend your life for a long time. But is your goal sitting in a nursing home staring at a brick wall? Because that's what a lot of these nursing homes are.
What's the quality of life?
For 20 years and not being able to, or do you want to live your lifestyle, get into biohacking, have root cause medical care, where the goal is 80, 90, 95 years old. You're still mobile. Now you're playing with your great-grandkids. You're going hiking. You're doing this stuff. This is really what we're looking at. And it's called the Hypercharge 50 because there's like 50 things that we do over 50, including mobility assessments at home and a comprehensive 360. I mean, we have a world-renowned exercise physiologist that can help people get back to what they're doing. If their goal is just to walk around one block, or their goal is to run a marathon, great. He trained Greg LeMond for his last 5 years. I mean, we have like really serious people, comprehensive. We have hormonal experts. We have experts in brain health. We have stem cell experts. We have all these people. And guess what? When you come into this program, you're going to be with all of them, and you're going to get a comprehensive 1-year program to completely turn around, your life. And the key thing is, and Balti says this all the time, she's like, we're not just trying to give this to people, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the way we live our lives.
And every time I talk about you, everyone says, oh wow, he must be in his 30s. Because of the energy. That's true. I'm going to card you after this. But the energy is just unmatched. I want to talk about your upcoming TED Talk.
Let's do it.
Your first TED Talk was at Harvard.
Yes, and it's coming out. So it's not me, it's TED. They take their time. It takes a couple months for it to come out.
Your next one is August 13th.
Yes.
Right? Where is it happening?
Right here in Minnesota. It's at Orchestra Hall. I think the event starts around 5 or 6 o'clock. You can buy tickets online. Again, feel free. That'll be available afterwards. But love the support I love the fact that I'm here because all my partners everybody's going to be. This will be amazing.
Yes.
But my TED Talk specifically is on the use of stem cells in treating spinal conditions. Now, I mean, if I was going to talk about stem cells in general, just in orthopedics, it'd be a 5-hour, thing. Because
stem cells are controversial, right?
Well, that's where we're going to. That's what it's about. Now you hit it. Now we got to talk.
You taught me a lot.
Now we got to have it. But anyway, the talk is specifically on utilizing stem cells. I've got some great stories. I mean, real stories. One is a young woman that had a spinal cord injury that had stem cells done. That's more in the experimental phase. She was treated at Mayo. It's amazing, tearjerker kind of thing. And then some like musculoskeletal stuff. So in our clinic, we do a lot of spine direct stuff that's completely above board with the FDA. We only do that. We don't if people want crazy stuff, not that it's crazy, but what the FDA considered, they have to go overseas. I mean, there's a couple clinics in the United States. We would never do that because everybody's like, multiple, our guy's triple board certified. He's not going to do anything that's going to, call any attention. But it can work absolute wonders. Now the controversy thing I do bring in there, and again, I don't want to give away the whole talk, but the truth is that there's this misconception that when people say stem cells, you think of embryo stem cells. You think of like replicating these cells. And are there people, again, that's fine. That's for the future. And I encourage you to learn about it, go to conferences. I certainly do. It's fascinating stuff. We're just not there yet with the FDA. We will. There's stem cells. They're doing stem cells where you inject it into a part of the brain for Parkinson's disease to shut it off. Wow. And I had her on my podcast. By the way, she developed a little mini brain of herself, and it's in space. It's on the space. On the space shuttle. It's crazy.
That's
stuff.
Incredible.
It's crazy stuff. I don't think it thinks, but yeah. So that's that. But in controversy, so they're not all. There's nothing controversial about the type of stem cells we do for musculoskeletal care. We also do it for sexual health and for for aesthetics. But this I have to say, and I don't mind cutting in. The reason that stem cells, and you know what, I talk about this all the time, and if people want to disagree with me, it's fine. The reason that stem cells are not widely available, they're safe. They're your own cells. You're not going to reject them, and the results are good. So you would.
That's a problem in today's medicine.
So if I say that to you, you would be like, okay, then why are they not everywhere? Well, I'll tell you exactly why they're not everywhere. It's the most simple. It's the most basic stuff. Other than the misinformation that I just brought out, so the lay public has a little bit of information, but they don't really know. But the medical community, and when I say medical community, I mean the corporate medical community, those that have the purse strings, right? Here's the deal. Here's what happens with these people. What gets fast-tracked, what gets pushed forward when there's a middleman. So if you come in for your treatment, and we take your own stem cells and put it back in you, who's going to monetize that? No one. You pay for your procedure, right? You're not paying for your stem cells, they're yours. You're just paying for the doctor to do the procedure and to spin it down and do the fees associated with that. That's it. If we took your stem cells, and we had to send it to a lab, and they were making a fortune, or they were putting nanobots with the stem cells, and it was like this crazy technology, and they could charge you $200,000 to have this, and then put it back in. It would be the greatest. People would be like, "Oh my God, everyone! If you don't have your stem cells, what's wrong? Your knees hurt for one day. You need stem cells." but there's no middleman, and it is people. Understanding the economics of medicine and the way that things work and the way that things get fast-tracked, it's no different than the light therapies. So I'll give you a thing. If I create a device that literally, I could just make something, I mean, obviously it has to have some medical thing, like we stick it up your nose and like go into your brain and do, you know what, FDA, all that, oh, that's great. This is amazing. So they publish the articles. These things get fast-tracked. People go to these conferences. They raise millions and millions of dollars instantly. People are like, I'm on it, right? Because they're like, they see the dollars. They're like, this is a potential $100 billion venture. Light therapy. There's manufacturers.
They want to benefit and make money off of the American population. That's
even with tremendous data, for example, that's coming out of like Harvard on light therapy to the brain. They submit stuff for NIH grants, and they're like, that is not enough information.
There was just a post funny you say that, there was just a post put out on all the social saying, oh, scientists have found out that light treats cancer. And I'm like, my doctor told me way before. So they're making it seem like some crazy discovery.
So I think cancer is a tough one, but yes, there's scientists studying all kinds of stuff. That is an area we do not dabble in. So if somebody comes into our clinic, and I'll tell you where it's really helpful. There is going to be a role for light treatments. It's different. We might be able to basically tag the cancer cells with something and then hit them with light. We don't know. A lot of stuff is going on. That is not something that we do, but we do.
But they're talking about scientists are realizing that light is treating
everything.
Things.
All kind, and I'm like, oh, you're real. I mean, me too. I shouldn't talk. I just realized it before, but this has been
never too late, right?
But if you think about it, like my other frustration, I talk to oncologists all the time. They're all around me, right, in the hospitals. And I'm like, why don't you refer your patients to us for post-chemo therapy? Biohacking post-chemotherapy is amazing. Without revealing anything, there's a person that is a friend of mine that has a horrible cancer, and it's horrible. Horrible. She's young. It was completely out of the blue, and it's a bad one. And she didn't even know that we were doing this, whatever, and I just said, listen, this is really good, and she was already getting chemo. It was not, it's unbelievable, the reduction in her post-chemotherapy symptoms. I'm telling you, not giving people this opportunity. Now, some people will say, oh, this and that, like with the thing. No, it's not LED, that kind of light, right? It's not, especially with these people are having chemo for very serious things where they might have 2 years to live, or I don't, it depends. There's a lot of different stuff, but why not reduce the suffering?
Yes.
By doing biohacks. Oxygen therapy, we know that reduces the symptoms. Why are we not doing this? They're not even being offered that. In fact, one of our employees, she just brought her neighbor in who's getting the treatment because she has I think she has breast cancer or something. I'm not sure what her cancer. I've never met the woman, but I said absolutely for chemotherapy. Post chemotherapy. The other thing, neuropathy.
Yes.
When you get chemotherapy, you can have nerve dysfunction and numbness and tingling and feel awful.
I mean,
our treatments are tremendous for all kinds of neuropathy.
So thank you so much for that information. So right now, what's a takeaway that our audience can take away right now if they're feeling ill, they're feeling sick, sluggish? Yeah. Our generation, we literally wake up tired, wake up sick, go to work. There's just no stopping. So what would you tell them to do right now?
So, I mean, the number one thing is you got to think about the pillars, so the basic stuff. And again, everybody knows this. Mm-hmm. Improve their sleep, change their diet, meditate, get rid of stress, get rid of toxins. Those are the biggies, right? But that's easier.
I would say come to hypercharge.
We'll get to that in a second. Those are the big ones. Those are harder to do. That's complete lifestyle changes. Mm-hmm. However, let's go back to this word, biohacking, and everything that we offer at our clinics. They don't have to come around. They might not be accessible to us, or they want to go somewhere else. I don't care. I just want them to get better. But biohacking has the ability to really bypass a lot of that stuff. It's going to decrease your toxin levels. It's going to, you said inflammation, my favorite word. It's going to dramatically decrease your inflammation by doing these things. People are going to feel a lot better. Do you know how many times I want to pull people in the gym? I see them. They're trying to work out. First of all, they're doing these random workouts. They're doing nothing, right? I'm like, we got to do some other stuff, not what you're doing. That's a whole other thing. But I want to say, just going to the gym a couple times a week and doing a couple biceps curls and a chest thing, that's not help. You look terrible. Terrible. Obviously, that's not nice. If I didn't meant them, I'd just say. But I'm always thinking there is so much more. Science has come, we've figured out all these things. So all the stuff we do at Hypercharge with the biohacking, but then the advanced biohacking that we do at Edina, we get hormonal change, they're making sure their hormones are right. Peptides. Peptides are, I can't even explain how important peptides are. Listen, look up the word peptides and actors and famous people. Those people are loaded with peptides. That's why Tom Cruise is going backwards. Yes. Okay, so Tom Cruise, the hypercharged lifestyle, he lives that lifestyle. Yes. He's obsessed.
Yes.
All the stuff
he's a biohacker. So
they're biohackers. So go get this stuff. Go get this.
Now there's also another thing. Yeah. A lot of people that are currently, you said hormone therapy, right? So all the women that are aging right now, how could they benefit from coming to Hypercharge?
Oh, it's huge. Listen, it's a so when they come to Hypercharge Health, which is our Edina clinic, and we're going to expand that into our other clinics too, because we need to offer more because it's complicated. But if you're hormonal, if your hormones
and we're talking menopause, by the way.
So. Listen, if your hormones are off, you're out. And so hey, ladies, listen, you've seen the actresses come out and complain and all these other people. It's absolutely true. I talk to my patients. Women's, especially all the perimenopausal stuff, it's completely blown up. Not by everybody. If you go to the right doctor, you might get great care. But a lot of times it's blunt, oh, you're depressed. Go get a hobby. You're fine. Even if you have the data, say, oh, look, my hormones, you don't need to do anything. Just age gracefully. You're fine. Excuse.
Yeah.
So if you change but it's complicated. So it's not as simple as, hey, we're going to replace your testosterone or you need more progesterone. It's very complicated because there's cortisol, there's your adrenalines, which are called catecholamines. All these things play, so we have to measure all that stuff, and then we want to put your body back into balance. And so the biohacking helps that, but sometimes you need what's called exogenous hormones, hormones from the outside to change that. Now with the peptides, you can actually stimulate naturally your own body to release things like growth hormone and other things, but sometimes you need the exogenous stuff. So for example, some women's testosterone it's almost like non-existent. You can't function well if that's the case. Yeah. Now and the other reason that you don't want to do this on your own, and you want, we have amazing women's health specialists at our clinic. The reason you don't want to do it on your own, you never want to fool around with hormones, especially if you have any history of cancers or other things. You need professionals to really make sure, because a lot of people, they're like, I want to really do this on the cheap, so I'm just going to go and get some stuff from online and stuff like that. You got to be really careful.
Well, they can visit Hypercharge right in Edina. Right in Edina. And also go to any of the other clinics.
And then the wellness centers. We're everywhere, and I'm just trying to do the right thing. And I just want to emphasize, yes, I want you to come to Hypercharge, and yes, we have protocols. Legitimately, nobody has what we have. Like, legitimately. Some people say that, but this is like, really.
Yeah.
Nobody has the protocol. However, I just want what's best for you and your families. You got to be the CEOs of your own health. Take this stuff seriously. Think about, do the mirror test. If I do this, what would I look like in 20 years? If I keep living the way I am right now, what would I look like in 20 years? And I tell you, if you're 40, when you're 60, it ain't going to be great. I've seen it. I'm not trying to be mean. It's rough. And for women, it could be even rougher because you're not protected by all the time. It's just different, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then think, what are those different paths? What are those alternative paths? And if I change my direction, because I have to give them the visuals. Sometimes I have to be. I'm like, if you continue this path, you're going to be immobile. You're going to feel
Sometimes they need the
terrible.
harsh truth. Yeah.
Like relations with your partner, with the way these people feel, they can't even hardly get out of bed. It's not normal. It's not okay to not be okay. It's just not.
Well, unfortunately,
you got to fight back.
We're out of time, but I want to thank you so much for coming on and educating us. I've become so passionate about it because, as you know, I didn't grow up here, so I know that it's not normal to wake up feeling that bad every day. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing in the wellness space. I consider you the #1 wellness doctor in the country. I said what I said, and it's true. Because once people find what you've built, it's life-changing. And I do want to end with, I took Naya Harris, who's a huge figure in our community, this morning to Hypercharge just to try the bed. And she called it a warm embrace. She immediately got out of the bed in a better mood, feeling amazing and ready to sign up. That's life-changing.
I'm in there every morning.
So I just want to thank you so much. So I want to tell the audience, this is how you find Dr. Stefano MD. It's Dr. Stefano MD on all platforms. You can also find him on, we have hyperchargehealth.com, hyperchargeclinic.com for the wellness clinics. And of course, he also has his personal endeavors happening. You want to share? How do they find you?
We got some. You can also find me if you're interested in anything spine. You just find me. I also have sinicropispine.com.
Yes.
Which is more for, the things that I'm doing in spine. Love taking care of people. But you know what? If you come see me anywhere, we're going to take care of you. We're going to care about you and try to get you on the right road. And I just want to say one thing on this whole, number one, I think that what I'm trying to do is use my background, the way I think, the fact that I'm from the Bronx, I've been around every single culture. I just understand how people think and how they feel. And I'm going out and I'm asking experts all over the world, what do you know, and how can you give that advice? And I'm putting it all together into a package that is missing. It's missing. And if I can do that, it is my life's work going forward. And I'm so glad to be here today. And I'm glad you're doing well.
Thank you so much.
She's amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Stefano MD. I hope you come back and see us because we need to learn more. Health is wealth, and I don't know about you guys, but I want to live for a very long time. So take good care of yourselves. Thank you again for tuning in to Hello Nancy, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
You can call Nancy, she gon' get the job done. DBE, you gon' get the best outcome. She's always on the go, raise your glass, let's toast. Everybody knows, everybody knows. Hello Nancy. Hello Nancy. Hello Nancy. Hello, 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 hello Nancy. Hello, hello.
I called up Hello Nancy. She say chill, no way in hell she gon' let me panic. Watch her build something so real without no hesitation. Hard work, sweat.